You're watching On Demand. Please check the closing time before trying to vote or enter any competition or other interactivity in this programme, as it may not count and you may still be charged.
Today on your Loose Women Live, it's Kay Adams, Nadia Sawalha, Kelly Holmes and Katie Piper.
And welcome to your Thursday's Loose Women. Nadia and I are just back from the tour, Birmingham, Cardiff and Liverpool. What a time we had, didn't we?
Such a great time, yeah.
Oh, so nice going out and meeting people. It was really, really wonderful. Yeah. And where have you two been? Look at the suntan on this one.
I know, look at that.
Oh, my God. Oh, she's shaved and everything.
Did I? No.
Yeah, nice, nice.
Yeah, I've been waiting for the summer. It's been beautiful.
Lovely.
Love it. I thought I'd bring the sun back.
You're a ray of sunshine. Yeah. You really are. Where have you been, Katie?
I've been to Spain, yeah. I had a week in Cornwall with rain and then to Spain, so that was nice.
Well, some of us have been working, but never mind. Right, here's what's coming up today. It is the new dating show that's been called Psychological Torture. Makes Love Island look like a picnic. In fact, Kelly thinks it could compromise world safety. Or is it just bloomin' brilliant, Telly? We'll tell you all about it at 12:45. Also today, as we prepare to mark 1 year without the Queen, we've got an emotional conversation about how hard it can be on the first anniversary of the passing of a loved one. Our stories and advice, if we have it, a little bit later. And from a young boy with a passion for dance to the Strictly superstar that he is today, Johannes Radebe. He shares his amazing backstory and why he always knew he was different. He certainly is different. He's blooming fabulous, isn't he? He really is, yeah. But first, we are following the story of escaped prisoner, terror suspect, 22-year-old Daniel Khalifi, who clung to the underside of a delivery van after working a shift in the kitchen at Wandsworth Prison. I mean, that's not far from your neck of the woods, Nadia.
Well, Croydon, but I mean, it's kind of south. But
yeah.
my mother-in-law used to work in Wandsworth Prison, actually, for years in the library. I don't know why, when you have these weird connections, but I had the same thing, just how? How? How did he hang on underneath
the van?
How did nobody see? It's quite extraordinary.
And there is just something about... I mean, I have to say, you know, the police are saying they don't believe that he poses any threat to the public, though they are, of course, saying that nobody should approach him. But it's just that feeling of a terror suspect on the run. Though, funny enough, I went to Glasgow airport last night to turn up to come here, and it was deserted. Security was deserted. And I went, oh, you guys are quiet tonight, aren't you? And they looked at me and they went, have you not heard? I said, no. I said, check your news app.
Oh, my God.
And I was,
you, the journalist.
I completely missed it. And then I went through and there was two policemen. I said, what's happening? And they just looked at me again, and then I checked and I went, oh, I'm sorry, right.
Yeah, that must have been very cringe for you.
Yeah, I felt a bit stupid.
Yeah.
It is crazy, though, isn't it? To think that, you know, he's obviously a high threat, really, why he was in a position to be able to go missing in the first place. Because would you not think, where is he? Before they actually knew he strapped himself underneath a van, which, you know, I can't even comprehend.
Yeah.
But it's that whole thing of what level was a terrorist. And official secrets that as well.
He was
still on remand,
so,
not convicted.
No, but he was a British soldier, so he's got a lot of kind of inside information that's quite...
The other story that seems to be coming out is the state of our prison service.
Well, that's the thing, and I don't think it's a news story. I think even people themselves who work in the prison service have been telling us for many years it's at breaking point. The same with the NHS, the same with the probation service. You know, a lot of it isn't necessarily fit for purpose right now, which is a scary thing as the public to hear. But I don't think this is the first time we've seen something like this, and I don't think it's going to be the last time.
No.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously there will be a slight element of political opportunism in that opposition politicians will be taking the opportunity to point that out, but they're not the only ones. And talking about the gross overcrowding in jails and the fact that at any one time, I saw this morning, that, you know, between 30 and 40% of prison staff are not available for whatever reason, you know, and some
How
really...
frightening for those staff as well.
It's the people who do turn up.
Staff
It's
with
just,
so many people that are packed in,
Yeah.
23... It just must be like a pressure cooker the entire time.
Yeah, it's a really difficult job to do. They're underpaid, underappreciated. And like you said, they put their own lives in danger every time they go to work. So if you're working with skeleton staff, that must be really scary. And now they're going to receive lots of criticism because of this story, and it's not their fault.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Just to reiterate, you know, the head of the Metropolitan Police Counter-Terrorism Command says they have no reason to believe that Khalifi poses a threat. But do not approach him, of course, if you do think that you have seen him, and call 999. Now, do we need a government minister for men? MP Nick Fletcher thinks so. Lee, our lovely warm-up man, has volunteered at the which is why the audience is saying, we've got one, don't worry about it, we've already got one.
To be fair, that was all of our reaction first thing this morning when we were talking about it.
We did all laugh.
And then we thought a bit more and like,
So Nick Fletcher was speaking to BBC's Women's Hour, and he said that a minister for men would deal with male health problems, campaign for more male teachers, and improve the life and chances of young boys. Now, the columnist Jenny Murray said today, this is the last thing that we need as a minister for men. There's more than enough male cabinet ministers as it already stands. So there you go, two very different views. What do you think, Katie?
Well, jokes aside, because we did all laugh this morning over our coffees, but, you know, it's almost linked to what we've just been talking about. You know, in prisons, male suicide and self-harm is at an all-time high, and it's really difficult for men out there at the moment. And it's getting harder. And we're talking about this minister being an antidote to people like Andrew Tate.
Why do you think it is difficult for men? I mean, maybe that's what we have to address.
I think there's more pressure on particularly young men. There's this kind of shallowness out there where men have to have a certain watch, a certain car, provide a certain lifestyle. You might see their partners on birthdays wanting to replicate things like the same handbag Kim Kardashian has or the same engagement ring. And, you know, that's like an entire deposit for a flat, that handbag. And it's this kind of this unrealistic lifestyle and unrealistic pressure where men feel like a failure and inadequate.
Because, I mean, obviously Nadia and I are older than you, a good bit older than you. And, like, when I was, you know, coming of age, if you like, in my early 20s, and I guess you're the same, Nadia, you know, it was all about equality and about, you know, women being much more in the public sphere, you know, women and men being able to do jobs that were traditionally regarded as the other. And yet now it feels to me as if we've gone back to this very sort of distinct, this is what a man does, this is what a woman does. And it actually quite saddens me.
I think the positive thing is we're talking about men's mental health more than ever, and being able to, you know, platforms like podcasts, we're hearing men talking about their thoughts and their emotions, which perhaps wasn't acceptable, you know, sort of decades ago. And I don't think this minister is a bad thing, but if it's just another salary, you know, how is this person going to deliver that? Because if you're an antidote to Andrew Tate, you need to be where he is, which is on TikTok, which is on podcasts, which is reaching that demographic. There's no point another salary standing up in the House of Lords telling us all these things about men's mental health. We know that.
Because those very men that might need it are not going to be able to relate to that person and are going to switch off. And the reason why we all laughed this morning when we first heard this, like, men, you know, everything's going right for men, why should men? But actually, to improve the mental health and everything for men, improve society. We talk a lot about toxic masculinity. We still have the highest rate of suicide in young men. There is something that is not right. And we as women are constantly have to increase what we do to make ourselves feel safe. You know, this constant hazard awareness list that we go through. All of a sudden we keep saying, what can the men do to redress this balance? And how are we all affected by toxic masculinity as women? So that, if I was saying what I would want from this, I would want that. We keep saying at grassroots level, we need to let boys think in a different way. Well, stop trying to squeeze them into a really narrow idea of what makes a man.
Here's quite a good stat. I mean, it's from America, but I mean, I think, you know, our society and American society sort of mirror each other quite closely. In America, only 3% of preschool, kindergarten teachers, they call them, are men. 3% are men. There are twice as many women flying US military planes as there are men teaching in nursery school. So, you know, whilst women have moved into, you know, what were traditionally male roles, it's not happening with blokes. So, I mean, how do we make that happen? Do we need to make that happen?
I mean, that example is whether men are actually scared to go into the school system, you know, because there's a lot of backlash, there's a lot of innuendo, you know, so there's some roles that maybe in society, well, it might not be manly or actually protecting themselves, you know, because there's a lot of, they feel accusations. But I also think, like, I sit in different areas in society and we're talking about men. Firstly, great if we understand what is it that they're trying to achieve by putting a male minister.
Well, they haven't said it's a male minister.
No, so a minister for men. Sorry,
yeah.
I'll rephrase that, minister for men. Because we have, as women, like I am going to step up for the women, we have been fighting for equality forever in every walk of life. When you talk about leadership roles, when you talk about in the workplace, when you talk about opportunities, pay, sport, we've fought for years and years and years. So a lot of women go, what do men need? The women think they get everything. But on the other side, which you were talking about, which I know a lot about, is the mental health, because I think men and women should have more conversation. Like, we're sitting there as women saying we know what men want. We probably have a solution to how men and women can get more equality and capacity if we discuss things more.
I think men have less empathy for having mental health problems.
Well, they receive less.
They worry. But they worry about talking because
well, that's why Loose Men was born, actually.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's why we decided that would be, you know, a good thing to kind of add a string to our bow, because those conversations being so necessary.
But at that point, I hope, your point that you just made, this ministry for men, all this will be addressed. You said we're fighting for this, we're fighting for that, we're fighting. Why aren't we fighting together?
Well, that's why I wouldn't.
Is the problem.
That's why I wouldn't have a minister. I would not have a minister for men, and that's not because I don't think all of these issues are really important, should be addressed. But I really think we have to come together a bit more, because we do live in a very adversarial society now. And even that example of Nick Fletcher saying we need a minister for men, and Jenny Murray saying no, we don't need. We all go into camps these days.
Yeah.
We really need to come together. And whether you call it a minister for society or a minister for youth or whatever.
That'll get lost in the wash, a minister for society.
Well, it might, but to be honest, a minister for men already sounds divisive.
I disagree. We haven't got time to have a proper row. Do it in the break. In the break, you owe me a row.
All right, get your jukes up in the break.
What?
Was that a Scottish
Just going to have a discussion. I don't think I brought my jukes.
Keep your jukes to yourself. And coming up next, it is the extreme dating show that you have probably never heard of until today. We have had a bit of a preview of it. Personally, I think it's evil. What about you girls, Katie?
I think it's psychological torture.
Kelly?
Makes me scared for the world.
Nadia?
Initially, I was salivating.
She's calming it down now. Her initial reaction was, this is fantastic!
But now I'm more grown up.
No, enough. Enough. Find out what it is next. Fitness guru Kelly has disappeared backstage with our guest, Strictly Jones. Oh my Lord!
He does everything so elegantly.
They are getting ready to teach us lot and you to squat like Madonna.
In heels?
Yeah, in heels.
I'm hanging onto walls to get up here today. Just to walk up here.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, we are really dreading that later on. It's competition time and you could be living like Madge herself with a brand new car and a massive £80,000. Another big winner this week was Happy Valley, who won Best Returning Drama at the NTAs. So Jean Johansson is exploring some of their filming locations with all the details.
I'll do. And hello from Hebden Bridge, home of Happy Valley, where I've come to tell you about our incredible prize duel. It all starts with £80,000 in totally tax-free cash. Just imagine the difference that money could make to you and your family. then all your road trips could be sorted, as there's an awesome Audi Q5 that's worth over £59,000. Earlier this week, we had the National Television Awards, and Happy Valley won for Best Returning Drama, and the town has been buzzing.
What was it like having Happy Valley filmed around here?
Filming here was absolutely amazing, and like the hype that it's brought to Hebden Bridge, plus Sarah Lancashire coming in here for breakfast lunch for all 3 series.
You would be buzzing too if you won this prize package worth over £139,000. There's no time to waste. Get your entry in now. For your chance to win, text prize to 81119. Text costs £2 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to the website. Entries cost £2. Call 09068 78 119. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and phone number to DY36 PO Box 7558 Derby DE1 0NQ. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close Friday the 6th of October at 3 p.m. Good luck.
Now, move aside Love Island, forget Love is Blind. There is a new dating show in town which has been described as the most extreme experiment ever. It is a Spanish show. It's called Deep Fake Love, and using deep fake technology and some very compromising situations, it tests 5 couples to find out if they can really trust their partners.
Sophisticated software will capture their movements, their features, their gestures, and make exact replicas of the participants. The knowledge these couples have of each other will be tested more than ever, because deepfake technology is almost unbeatable.
Wow.
Oh, look how
That's not real. That is not real.
You think it was?
That's real. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Real. That's my boyfriend.
How could you tell?
Right.
All right. Go on then.
I
Right.
think we need to tell the audience that this is... I'm going to say...
Well, what?
Say prawn sandwich. It's proper prawn sandwich.
That's really helpful, Nadia. Everyone knows what you're talking about now.
We saw a slightly longer edit this morning.
we did.
And that was the daytime version that you saw.
Yeah.
It gets a bit X-rated.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So you, as an individual, so let's say you, Nadia, you would be watching Mark, and it would be fake, but it would be so realistic you wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
No, but it could be Mark. You don't know what...
No, absolutely. But you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. But you would be seeing, effectively, your partner in the most compromising sexual positions with anota woman.
Yes.
How would that feel, do you think?
Before we get there, can we just have a moment of what it was like when we first watched it? Before I get serious, I was like, oh, my... God!
We had the popcorn out, didn't we?
There were bottoms flying, it was just like... Well, first of all, I thought it was an O-R-G-Y, because it was very intense.
I'm a prude.
So I was completely... Me and I were like, popcorn!
Don't bring me into this!
I was like, how many episodes? Oh, we've been watching it. It's brilliant. That was my first reaction. I was excited. I had cortisol pumping.
Look at me.
Look at me there. I was a mess. I love taking to the edge
I
shows.
thought it was EVIL.
Yeah, voice of reason.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
It's not a big word. It's not difficult. I was horrified by it.
Yeah,
I'm
straight
utterly
away.
horrified.
I don't agree with
I mean, we are messing...
I think we've got to be very careful here. And we said, just give us 1 minute. But you're right. In the end,
you
I
are
think
messing with people's minds. You're messing with people's lives. And this is AI. I mean, I said at the beginning, and it was slightly alarmist, you know, that Kelly thinks it will damage world security. But I totally get where you were going, because you think the potential of this technology.
Well, can you imagine fake crimes? You know, fake relationships for anybody in this room. You could be going out with a pal, and it could actually show you kissing, snogging them, doing whatever.
Yeah.
And then that gets caught, or somebody snaps it, and then it looks like you. So conflicts could be so started.
But I mean, look at Ukraine. Look at Ukraine. We look at footage from Ukraine, and we assume this is news footage, and it is what we see. With this technology, we don't know.
I remember
You don't
years
know
ago when I
what's
was an
fake.
actress, there was I was with this actress and this actor, and we'd come out of this club, and she'd literally kissed him like this to say goodbye, and then went all over the papers that they were strong. Do you know that relationship actually broke up?
Yeah.
Because her boyfriend
That's
thought it
so
was.
sad.
And it was so
Yeah.
it's this, but a million times. And so though initially I was titivated, I was silly, I was going, I'm going to love it. I then remembered that my daughter had told me about this young girl on TikTok who had a huge following. I think you knew about this.
I saw this. They ruined her
and
life.
they deep-faked her in some sort of compromising something, And her family didn't believe it wasn't her.
Oh, it's awful.
And
Oh.
she completely ruined her life.
Yeah, that's awful.
It went really, really fast. So that's what then pulled me back and thought, well, hang on a minute.
I have to say, though,
that
if I went on this show as a contestant with Rich...
Go on. Let's get back to the juicy stuff.
I think she's thinking about it.
I mean, it's 100,000 euros if you win, so...
All about the money.
Yeah. The thing is, I think even if I knew it had been fake, if I'd seen Richie sort of getting it on with another girl, I actually don't think I could come back from that. And I think I'd be
Even
in a
if you
mood
knew it
with
was
him.
fake.
Yeah.
But would you really know?
But the
It's
thing is, you wouldn't
official.
really know. Because
But
in
I
your
could never
head...
unsee it, because I have
Yes,
seen
exactly.
it. My brain has seen him gyrating in cowboy position. That's what I thought. That's what I saw. Never does that to me. I just think, and I don't even class myself as a jealous person, but it would make me jealous.
I think it's a really good point. It's gone in. It's printed something
Isn't
in
it
your brain.
extreme to see if you're actually strong in your relationship? Because you have to think that you're strong.
it's crazy.
To go on there. It can't be real. That
It's like
can't
you
be real.
said
Surely.
earlier,
With fire.
Nadia, and
No.
we've been in this situation because we've been involved in these kind of, like the circle, remember we did that? Everyone goes in, doesn't matter who you are, everyone goes in thinking, it won't get me.
Yeah.
I know what's going on, it won't get me, it won't get me. Got me, hook, line and sinker.
It will
They even
get
say that
you.
on Big
It
Brother,
will.
don't they?
Yes.
Yeah, it will get you.
Anyway, I'm going to watch it. I can't wait.
Well, I think
I do, I won't tell anyone.
you've got to be careful.
Yeah.
Now, coming up next, we are talking about the tricky task of navigating your feelings 1 year on from a sad event in your life. Nadia's going to be opening up for the first time about the day every year where she hides her sadness. An emotional chat next.
We're mixing it up on Loose Women as half the panel is occupied by two generations of the modern man. Good Morning Britain's Richard Madeley and Love Island's Ian Sterling.
It's going to be fun, this.
They'll join the fabulously funny Judy Love and your very own Angel of the North, me, Denise Welsh. That's Loose Women and Men next week.
Welcome back to Loose Women, loosening up your lunchtime this Thursday with me, Kay Adams. It's Kelly Holmes, Katie Piper and Nadia Sawalha. Still to come, Johanna Shradebi chats to us about that NTE outfit. Oh, look at it, Tuesday night. And why he finally feels comfortable to be himself. Oh, amazing. Now, tomorrow marks a year since the sad passing of our beloved Her Majesty the Queen. And it got us thinking about how hard it can be 1 year on from someone's death. I think we all kind of stopped a little bit this morning, didn't we, Kelly? Maybe particularly you, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's... well, I mean, that's another story with the Queen dying, but, yeah, I found, like, the year of firsts. So when my mum passed away, it was the first Christmas, family Christmas. Got quite a big family. I hosted it. Mum wasn't there, you know, so you put a picture in the middle of the table. Then it was New Year, then it was Easter, then it was a birthday. And I found that extremely hard, having the first time she's not in our lives. And then when it got to the year sort of anniversary, that was just extremely hard. And I think I suffered anyway from grief and did for years and years and years. And it's now just gone 6 years. And I think after about 3, you know, it started to settle. You kind of deal and cope with life. But that first was so hard for me. I mean, I was numb.
Yeah.
Every stage, to be honest.
And 12 months in healing is no time at all, is it? It's, you know, you probably think, well, a year, that's nothing, because it's so raw.
It goes so quick.
The date really meant something to you, did you?
Yeah, definitely. Each date did, you know. If I see it on the calendar, especially back then, you know, when I knew the 7th of August was coming, I was petrified by it because I knew how much it affected me on that date when she first died, and I still felt that I had an element of that still inside me, that anguish, that worry, never going to see her again. And I have to say, you know, I was so numb during the whole period of her death anyway. Like, I literally went mute for the first 3 weeks. I couldn't...
After she died?
After she died, yeah. And I think I didn't get over that really intense period, so every time it was like anguish leading up. After that, it's still anguish, but it's sort of... You've got sort of used to the first. And so I think that's the change in it.
What's it like now, then, when that date comes around?
It's a little bit... It is less, because I know August's coming, but this time I didn't put it on my social, I didn't text my family like I used to do and say, oh, Mum and that. It's almost like you have to move on with your life because you're still living. You can't stay in the background, and that's the thing. We're still living to this day, so you can only do things that make it good, you know. And I remember I go down to a bench, I look up in the sky, I say, oh, you know, you'd love to be sitting here in the sun, wouldn't you, like me? She wouldn't, though. But, you know,
do you now identify with that, saying, you know, that grief doesn't go away, you just learn to grow around it? I always think, what's that mean when people say that?
I think
it doesn't, and I think that that's really true. I've seen that happen with you and with the loss of your parents, where you just find a way to grow around this hole or a lump. Sometimes it can just feel like a lump in your throat for so long, can't it?
I mean, funnily enough, and we've said this before on the show, grief's different for everyone, and you know, we should allow grief to be different for everyone. And dates don't really... I mean, of course, I know the dates that my mum and dad passed away, but dates don't really register with me. Because, and this is something that somebody said to me just the other day that really struck me, is that one of the things that I found most surprising about when my mum and dad passed away is that although physically they had passed away, they still so much were with me.
Oh, really?
And you just realise that, you know, they're in every cell of your body.
Right. So you would feel them in you still? And
and
it's signs? Or...
No, not signs. No, not signs. It's just that, you know, I look like my mum. I look like my dad. I've got my dad's sense of humour. You know, I've got my mum's tenacity. You know,
you've got all the memories together.
You know, that they adored my girls and of course my niece and nephew and stuff. And so all of that is still in your life.
That's quite comforting, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it is. It's a lovely thing. And you know, I was very, very grateful that I had great relationships with my mum and dad. I often feel for people who had troubled relationships with their parents when they've passed away, because I think there will be more to process.
An absent parent.
Whereas I've got to process loss, but, you know, I don't have any troubles to process.
I think it does depend on that relationship. Sorry, no, I do think it depends on that relationship of that person that you're then talking and grieving about, isn't it? Because, you know, we had nans and grandparents and whatever pass away, and even though that's so sad, it's very different. Like, my mum was only 17 years older than me, and we've had a very sort of up and down relationship, and there's been that kindled thing that now she's gone, now what? So I do think it is dependent on the relationship, and it is important that people know there's no time for healing.
Mark said something really interesting the other day, and I never thought about that. He said, to have, like, an absent parent and to lose them, it's like an absent parent is a huge relationship in your life, if you think about it. Even if you're not with them, it's massive.
Absolutely.
And I've had many friends in the agony of watching them when they lose an absent parent, you know, whether they haven't known their father or mother, it's always painful. I mean, I lost somebody... Actually, do you know what? I can't talk about it.
Well, you know what? That is absolutely...
But what I would say is that my first year, just for anybody that might be going through something in the first year, I felt nothing on the anniversary of the first year. I felt nothing. And I tell you why. Because we have this amazing capacity as human beings to produce shock absorbers. And my shock kept me up there for years, in a way.
You mean a numbness?
No, numbness. So I hadn't landed. So if you've lost somebody and you're coming up to your first year anniversary and you're not feeling anything, please don't hate on yourself, because actually it's your mind protecting you from taking it all in at once. We all have our own way of taking it in.
You're right.
And it can surprise you at any time, like this. Just gets you, and that's what I say when you just learn to grow around grief and it can hit you at any time. And if you forget about that person for ages and you get on with your life, don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. No. There's no feeling bad for the way you feel after you've lost something.
I think that's so reassuring.
You've got to do it your way.
Yeah.
If you are dealing with loss, there is help on our website, which is itv.com/helplines. Now, still to come, opening up about the life that he didn't dare to dream of and the call that changed everything. Settle in for the inspiring life story of Strictly's Johannes Radebe. Welcome back. Now, today's guest has a real-life Billy Elliot story. Born in a village in South Africa, look at him. Johannes Radebe has always had a passion for dance. After upping sticks and moving to London, the call came to star on TV's biggest show, Strictly Come Dancing, of course. Baby, he was born this way. It's Johannes Radebe. So nice to see you, Johannes.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you know, you were standing over in that corner and we were just all drooling at you.
We're not supposed to have favourites, but you are.
Thank you, darlings. Thank you. I have to say thank you because Loose Women has always just supported Jojo throughout since I've been here. So thank you for that. Thank you.
Well, as you say that, we have Jojo finally coming home, which is your book that's now... Kelly's got a lovely signed copy. There's nothing in mine, Jojo, I'm just saying.
No, I'll sort that out. I'll sort it out.
But, I mean, obviously, over the sort of 3 years you've been on Strictly, we found out more about you and, you know, you have absolutely wormed your way into everyone's hearts. But this is a big one for you, to tell the whole story in the one place, yeah?
Definitely. Definitely. I mean, the reason why I've called it Jojo Finally Home, and I was saying to you earlier, is because for the first time in my life, I feel seen. What I do is celebrated. I'm amongst people that love what I do. And I can't tell you all how liberating that is.
So it wasn't always that way?
No. Definitely not. You know.
Well, we were talking because I have such an affinity with South Africa. I've been going for years, and you grew up in Zambela township.
Yeah.
And that's so far away from what any of us will ever understand. Do you want to just explain sort of your upbringing and that? Because you put that into the book really eloquently.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, it is. It's far off from what I'm experiencing now and the kind of life that I'm living. I'm in a position now to look after my family, and Mum is comfortable, and that is the biggest thing for me. Now, when I grew up in South Africa, I mean, dance, I was bullied for the fact that, first and foremost, I was a bit happy and flamboyant. And I mean, that always puzzled me because I was just like, why is that so, you know? But dance was my refuge. You know, I felt comfortable at school, at home, and at dance. And those are the 3 places, you know, that I really, as a young boy, existed in that space only, you know. And school then became a problem. Hated school. And not because I didn't want to learn or anything of that sort. It's just that it was not a fun place to be. Grateful for my teachers for having to call out the unfairness that used to happen, you know, so I'm grateful for that. But I have to say, when I was introduced to the world of dance, I was like, this is where I belong. Do you know what I mean?
Did you have to fight to be able to dance? I imagine that was frowned upon.
It was frowned upon. I mean, it's the first, like I said to you, it's the first time that what I do is celebrated, even by my family, by some of my family members, you know, because my uncles used to say to me, I mean, when are you going to get out of this phase? When is it going to finish, you know?
And it's your absolute passion. It's so hard.
It is.
And it's hard to hear that. It's unbelievable to think when I see you dance on Strictly, you're the best dancer. I'm probably not to say that, am I? You're the best dancer. But you are. I mean, I was on Strictly the year it was your first year, and you're an incredible dancer. But to hear how held back you were and you got to that level is you know, you were so talented. It's incredible.
did that prejudice almost push you on more to succeed?
It did, and it's unfortunate that was the driving force behind it. But I also know that I was supported and loved, and I speak about it in my book. It was the woman in my life and my aunt that said, you know, whatever I needed, I knew that I could go back to them and I say, you know, this is happening. And they'll be like, okay, fine. What do you need? Here's a £5.
Yeah.
What do you have? You know, so they all... And that reassurance kept me going.
But it happens in all cultures, you know? I mean, if you think of Craig had a similar experience growing up in Australia. Anton has now spoken about his experience growing up here. It's not just in your culture.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Well, yeah, I mean, Anton spoke recently about his relationship with his father, and of course yours was difficult as well.
Yeah.
Was that difficult to write about?
It was. It really, really was. And it's only recently that I've made peace with what has happened in the past, because I had an opportunity to hear my mum's side of the story. As I was writing the book, I sat down and I interviewed her and I asked her questions to say, why did you make that decision, you know? Why did you stay that long in that marriage that didn't serve you?
Was it hard to talk to your mum about it like that?
It was. It was. And it was, because, you know, and I dedicated the book to my mother, because I want to applaud her love, the joy and the sacrifice.
It's a lot, isn't it? To sit down and to go through those memories again and talk. It's a lot.
Somebody said it was going to be tough, and I was like, man, how hard can it be?
Talking about your mother coming over though 2 years ago, you brought her to London, Buckingham Palace. Oh, wow. That's a bit of a different world, isn't it?
It definitely is. I mean, she's obsessed with the royal family. So it was a beautiful thing after all these years, and after she built the courage. Because it's the flying that she hates. So she did it, and she did it because also she was going to come with my aunt, who passed away 2 years ago, COVID. So my sister accompanied her, and it was a ball, because, like I said, you know, I was holding her hand in Buckingham Palace.
Did they go and watch Strictly?
No, they didn't, unfortunately.
No.
And that's still the aim. But yeah, it's been incredible that she's like, sorry, I'm so sorry. It's emotional because great things happen in my life, but my family is never around to enjoy it with me.
She must be so proud of you.
She has to.
She is. She is. But today, more than any day, I just wish that she was here. You know, because I know, I can just imagine where she is right now as well, because she's alone, and that's a reality, you know. But I'm happy and I'm proud of her, because I've learned incredible things.
She must have been the most extraordinary mother, because we're all sitting and going, oh, she was my boy. What a great mum.
Thank you.
And all the aunties in that, you know, that village of aunties and cousins that brings up somebody.
Can we just take a moment to say your dress sense? You looked fabulous at the end. You absolutely came to slay.
Oh, listen, any moment to just live, I say.
You dressed all of us today.
But do you know what? There was a lot of, you know, talk, obviously, when you came out and we had the same-sex couple, and these were very significant moments, I know, to a lot of people. But what I love even more is that you are continuing to come out, not in a sexuality sense, because that's gone, but in a personality sense, and, you know, the person that you are and everything, and that's what I'm loving seeing so much.
But you can't help, it's the fact that I'm in this country, and I always say this, I live in the most progressive country right now. I do. I know we've got a long way to go, but it's easier this side of town. You know, on my continent, there's people that are still being killed and that's a reality. That's my lived experience, you know. My friends, we still talk about things that affect us still today as gay black men coming from a township. And I know it's hard because I was able to get out of there, but they're still there. So I tell you, when you say I'm coming up every day, it's just like, can I? I can.
Johannes, you're staying with us. The book is out now. Jojo, finally home. I'm going to get mine signed. It's competition time now. Jean Johansson has all the details from Happy Valley's Hebden Bridge.
Hello from Hebden Bridge. I'm on a road trip to some of the National Television Award nominated shows to tell you about our cracking prize package. We have a massive £80,000 in tax-free cash, which could be all yours. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also win this brand new Audi Q5 worth over £59,000. This is the house that was used as the home of Sergeant Catherine Kaywood. All the explosive storylines went down in here. And spoiler alert, that scene between Catherine and Tommy, still gives me chills. You could have incredible experiences too if you won this prize, worth over £139,000. Happy Valley won Best Returning Drama, and you could win this awesome prize. It only takes moments to enter, and there's a guaranteed winner, so get your entry in now. For your chance to win, text prize to 81119. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. Go to the website, entries cost £2. Call 09068 78 119. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and phone number to DY36 PO Box 7558 Derby DE1 0NQ. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close Friday the 6th of October at 3 p.m. Good luck.
Now, if there was ever a day we needed Johannes Radebe with us, this is the viral challenge that has got billions of views. But can you squat like Madonna? Oh. There she is.
Love her.
This is 2001. This was 15 jump squats to her song, Hey Mr. DJ. What do you think, girls?
On heels.
Yeah, she's got the heels on.
I want to be that one in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, look at this woman. Wow.
In my mind, I am.
You'll get us there.
Sitting on a stool doesn't cut it. Well, listen, our very own fitness guru, Kelly, has been having a practice with Johannes, of course, so we're going to give it a go. There we go. We'll put them out by If you are trying this at home, probably don't wear heels. Make sure you're in a safe space.
Where are we looking?
OK.
Where are we looking?
Can we cue the music? Let's go.
No, now go fast. Let's go. Temp it out. Do it. We'll just go slow. Up and down, and up, and down, and up, and down. Now quicker, quicker, quicker. Double timing. 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 That's it.
That is it for today. Tomorrow, Sarah Brown, wife of Gordon Brown, will be here. And Royal Insider Hugo Vickers. Until then, enjoy the sunshine.
Thank you.